clearly? Can everyone see me
Yes, we
clearly?
can. Yes, we
Okay, great.
can.
Yes. Okay. Hi, Takwa. Our Maestro, product design Maestro. So excited to, hear from you and learn from you today. So we'll just get started. Hi. All right. My name is Adi Dolapo and I work with LearnArc. LearnArc is an educational technology that helps people transition into tech. And our promise or our commitment is that, when you take any of our courses in 6 to 12 months, we believe that you should be able to land your first tech role. Landing your first tech role could be in form of internship, paid on unpaid, or even an actual full-time tech job. So we majorly focus or we specialize in no code and low code tech skills. So right now we are running cohort on product design, product management, data analysis, and Scrum Master. So today we have, like I called him earlier, a product design maestro. He's been in product design for 7 years, and I think it's such a very big privilege to have him, speak with us and tell us about product design, tell us about the history of the internet. I mean, it's going to be a very exciting and interesting webinar, and I hope you stay till the end because if you stay till the end, there we have gift for you. So if you have friends, you have family, that might be interested in product design. I think it's a good time for you to just push out this Google Meet link so that they could join in as well. And at the end of this webinar, if you have any questions, you will be very happy to answer them. Yes. So, guys, because we always like our webinars to be interactive, I'll just, call on two people and just ask them what the expectations are for this webinar. So let's start with, let me see. Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. Okay, I think Sylvia is not close to her phone so that I don't waste more time. Maybe I'll speak to Garuba. Garuba, how are you? Okay. Garuba also is not close to his phone or close to a phone. Garuba Alima Bisola. Hi, Bisola. Okay, I guess.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bisola.
Yes. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So, for me, I'm just trying to transition into tech. I've always been in sales and marketing, and I'm really, really interested in product design as well as user experience. So, I expect to learn a lot in that field, see how I can transition um, smoothly into tech and also make use of the skills I've been able to acquire over the years in this new field. Thank you.
Oh, great, 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 great. And we count it as a privilege to help you, start off this journey of you transitioning into tech. So thank you, Bisola, for, speaking. Thank you so much. All right. Let me just give the mic to one more person before we get into the agenda of today. I see someone called Deru Tayosuli. Deru, are you here with us? Or you are also not with your phone, you just logged in?
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Hi, Deru. Good morning. Okay, tell us.
Firstly, let me thank you for bringing this to our table. I actually don't know much about tech, so I'm new here and I'm here to learn fully, 100% here to
Yeah,
learn. Thank you.
you're welcome. Love it for you, and we're sure that this is going to be very insightful. And I'm very sure that you will learn. Like for us at LearnApp, we are very committed to bring in the best facilitators, just so that that we help you get to that place you want to get to, especially with your journey in transitioning in tech. So, without further ado, I will give the microphone to Takwa. I wish you were in the hall, so everyone is going to say Takwa, Takwa, Takwa. Well, yeah. So let's get rolling. So, Takwa, over to you, boss.
Hi guys, hi everyone. It's a really big pleasure to be able to speak to you guys about what I've been doing for the last couple of years. Um, just like she mentioned, my name is Takwa, and I've been a UX designer for a few years now, and I'm very excited to talk about my job and what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I'm hoping that at the end of this call, um, everybody here would be as excited and interested as I am about design, about product design, and you'd want to take the next step forward. I'll always be here for questions, mentorship, and anything. And hoping that you get interested enough and come and come on board to what we're doing with LearnArc. We'll get to talk about a lot of that um, by the end of these slides. But for now, I just want to talk to you guys about product design and hoping that you guys ask me questions and learn as much as you can. I think someone was raising their hands up. Does anybody have a question?
I saw Sylvia. I saw Sylvia, and I think she ran away.
I'm sorry, it was a mistake.
All right.
Uh-huh. Okay, got it.
All
All
right.
right.
All right. Before we go, so something was supposed to happen, and I really want that thing to happen. I want one or two people to you can signify by raising your hands. There's the icon, the hand icon, and tell me about yourself very briefly, and tell me about what you why you're trying to transition to tech, and maybe what you hope to get in this webinar. The reason why it's important is I think of teaching like this. It's not about what I can give you. It's about what you can get, right? And if I know enough of what your aspirations, your fears, your hopes, I can I can tailor my teaching as much as possible to satisfy whatever it is that you want from this class. So quickly, and I'm very patient. I'll wait for 2, 3 people to tell us what it is that they would love to get from this webinar, and what they aspire to in tech, basically. So anybody, any volunteers, don't be shy. I don't bite. I'm a very nice guy. So anybody who would like to speak quickly.
Hi, Takwa. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so for me, I've been hearing a lot about tech, and tech has been there for a couple of years. So I want to understand, product design in terms of how to design things like graphic design, sort of, or I just want to understand this area of product, this area of tech, and may monetize it, make money from it too.
Awesome, that's fantastic. I think I have a couple of things for you today. Thank you very much for that contribution. Anyone else? Anyone else? Guys, it's a Saturday morning. Yeah, I think you guys have slept through Friday. So wake up. Let's talk money. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Takwa. Initially,
Hi.
yeah, I'm an accountant by profession, so I do graphics sidely. I can design a little bit. So about product design, I'm doing self-learning. I watch some video on YouTube, or I just need someone that will walk me through that path, so that I'll be able to design myself and know the reason why I'm designing. So I would love to learn that today.
Awesome, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think my slides cover that. One more person before we finally jump in. Anyone? Yeah, please. Anyone else? Okay, I think I'll just jump right in so that I don't take too much of everybody's time. We're already 15 minutes into the class. I think by the end of this, we should all, my expectation is we should all have a bit more questions, or a bit more clarity on why we are here and next steps, basically. So, introduction to product design. My name is Takwa Gazal. Don't be afraid. I am actually Nigerian, very Nigerian. My name is just weird. But if you know Takwabe, I mean, you know where Takwa. You definitely have come across my name before. So I've been doing design for 7 years. Looks like a long time, but it's actually a short time. It feels like yesterday. And I'm going to tell you my story, right? I'm going to tell you like how I got into tech so that it sort of demystifies a lot of things for everybody. But I put it as the last thing. I mean, let's talk about the what I call the technical part first, and then we get to the story part. Everybody loves stories, so stay tuned for my story at the end of the class. So quickly, the sections I'm going to touch on, it's going to be very brief. You're not going to learn everything about product design today. Like the title of the class says, is an introduction. It's basically to get your feet wet, to get you sort of like hungrier for this thing and to give you some clarity on the next step and how to start that journey. I'm hoping that I can deliver as much as possible. And again, there's opportunity for questions. I really believe in asking questions. So please ask me questions away and don't be afraid or don't be shy of any questions. If you can't say it, the chat box is there. Please just send your questions in. I'm really excited to answer questions. Now, quickly about me, I've been designing for 7 years. Currently work at a company called Lemfi. We make cross-border payments happen for immigrants sending money back home. Everybody knows what the dollar is right now. What's causing it is a lot of factors, but I work in FX basically, and designing for FX. Before that, I worked at Seamless HR, where I was building or designing building basically human resource technology. There I worked on a procurement product, human resource core product, time and attendance, and a bunch of other things. Before that, I worked at Opera. The owners of OPA. I didn't work on specific the OPA product, but I worked on something called Olist, which is an e-commerce marketplace. And I've done a bunch of things before that. So been here, there, done a lot of side gigs. Worked in cryptocurrency, a little bit in health, travel and hotel. Been around a bit. Yeah, so that's that. So the other thing we'll talk about is today's digital world, right? What does it look like? What's the landscape like? For most of us, most of what we know about the digital world is maybe payments, social media, and things like that. But there's a really big world out there. So we'll talk about what is design. Most of you want to hear that. We'll talk about the business of design. Because at the end of the day, why we are here is when we drill down to the bottom line, and that's one thing that you're going to have to do in your design career. You drill down to the foundations. The foundation of this is you want to make money. I mean, I love the work and I'm passionate about the work, but the truth is, it pays me. That's why I'm still doing it. If not, I'll do it on the side and do it as something exciting that I do on my weekends. Now, how to get into design? The meat of the discussion. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about people's stories, and finally, we're going to take questions. I seriously hope that there are lots of questions. Yeah, we talked about me already. So we just get into today's digital world. Here we're going to talk about a quick history of the internet, how people make money on the internet, and the place of designers in a digital world, right? So quickly, this is a chart I wish I could really go into. But the highlight of this, because of lack of time, is it's a journey, right? And one thing I want to highlight from all of this is the digital world keeps evolving. 20 years ago, there were people who called themselves UX designers, product designers, but it wasn't a very defined role, right? But now it's very defined, it's clear. It has even branched into several other things like on a product design team, you can have UX researchers, you have UI designers, you have UX designers, you have interaction designers, service designers, and things like that. So it's really broad and it's changing, evolving. There's a lot of space for people, and a lot of magic is happening. So it started really in 1957, right? With the launch of a space how do I call it? What escapes me right now? Like a space shuttle called Sputnik, right? And that launches global communication. And then the journey went from 1974, where the internet service actually is born. Before that, internet service was, I mean, something that existed in a small space in a research lab and things like that. And then, if you've heard of Tim Berners-Lee, is like known as the founder of the World Wide Web. So the function of the World Wide Web is basically what we use every day, like the Google, the web browser, and things like that. Another big milestone, I'll just rush through it, is the start of Amazon and all of those companies. So there was something called the tech boom, and that was like the 1990s to 2000. Like a lot of tech companies started, and that's typical for a new technology. A lot of people go inside and they're trying to make the most of it. It's typical for not just technology, new things that happen. There was a time in the US where there was a gold rush, if you read a bit of history. So a lot of people moved from where they were living to that area and started mining for gold. Interestingly, that story links to the birth of somewhere called Silicon Valley, right? Um, which is very interesting. So everything is linked, and that's what the internet is. It's a web. I think the person that coined the word web was very apt at it. It's a web of interconnected things and series of events that just keep leading on to many things. And I'll fast forward so that we can move on to this to today. I mean, today now we have the internet. We have companies that are $1 trillion, that worth trillions of dollars. We have social media. We have e-commerce. We have so many things, right? All of this just has created a really, really solid industry that if today there was a switch called the internet switch and someone turned it off, you could almost feel like planes will drop from the sky automatically. Like, I don't know. I'm sure you guys must have seen some apocalyptic movies. Like, if the internet went off, like it would be it will be near apocalypse, pretty much. Like, think about the banks that are working mostly on the internet. Think about airplanes. Think about ships on the sea that use the internet. Think about healthcare. Think about food delivery. Think about everything. Like, everything just sort of halts. So the whole world is relying on this space called the internet, and it's a big industry, and it's not going anywhere. Yeah. So how people make money on the internet? Quickly, we just segue to that. I think almost everybody know like these four guys: Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and the um uh uh the Google guy. Yeah, sorry. The only guy that is missing here is Microsoft, and I think it's trying to decide whether to put the current CEO or the founder of Microsoft, right? But whichever way, these are like some of the biggest players in the industry. So how people make money on the internet is essentially you build a product that people love and use every day. Love is relative, right? Or let me not use the word love. You build a product that people always want to use and you charge for it. Or you make it free and you get revenue from it being free. For example, Facebook is free, but they make a lot of money from ad revenue. Google is free, but they make a lot of money from ad revenue. So if you look at the first two guys, they make money from directly charging for a product. The second guys make money off advertising mostly, right? Google ad revenue is huge. Facebook ad revenue is huge. Microsoft, Apple sells products with the iPhone, and they've baked a lot of things into the iPhone, the MacBook and things. Amazon is a monster in e-commerce, pretty much. Like, Amazon is almost synonymous to e-commerce at this point. So essentially, a quick summary is of how people make money on the internet is you have something, people want it, and you monetize it. It's as simple as that. Monetizing now differs. Do you charge for it, or do you sell sell the things that come from people using the product, which is like um, the data, or you advertise to them and things like that. So that's a very, very quick rough sketch of how people make money on the internet. So if you are trying to become a CEO of a product or anything, it's pretty much that pipeline. You can fit anything. API, you're selling APIs, you have a fintech product, you have an e-commerce product, you have a healthcare product, you have a hospitality product, you have agricultural product, anything. So the internet is like a pipeline. And you take every other industry, agriculture, think about anything, think about construction. You can look at it and say, okay, I know construction very well. Like the person who is an accountant, right? I know accounting very well. How can I make this a tech startup or something like that? Or can I build a new type of Excel sheet that people use? Can I help small businesses automate their finances? Can I help small businesses pay their tax? Everybody's talking about tax in Nigeria because the LIRS and the government is looking for a lot more money. So they're trying to be more tax efficient with the community. So can I build a tool that helps people manage their tax better? Can I build a tool for, think about it to the point of local governments? Okay, can I automate the payrolls for local governments? Can I do a time and attendance tracking device for local government offices? So I can ask you to give me any kind of industry, anywhere, education, anywhere, and I can start to think about how to plug technology into it to make money. Obviously, it's not every product that makes money. Again, people have to like the product, or they really need to use the product. The more they need to use the product, the more money you have the tendency to make. All right, awesome. So the place of designer in all of this ecosystem, right? Big stuff, huge stuff. So I mean, where the designers come in. So this meme is basically what the life of a designer. I mean, you have back pain because you're constantly sitting down. I mean, not everybody has back pain, but I know a bunch of designers that have back pain. I mean, you have family stuff you're dealing with, which is almost everybody. You have sleepless night because, I mean, sometimes you have revisions. I mean, it's not that bad. There are some times where the work gets tedious, just like any other job, and there are some times when it's really relaxed. Yeah. Payment issues. I mean, that's down the line. If you're working for a company, you're not doing a lot of payment issues because, especially except when you're a freelancer and you are paying for the apps that you're using, Photoshop and things like that. No love life. I mean, that's just an exaggeration. I mean, I have a life and I have a love life. Software issues. I mean, your app can crash. You didn't save your work, things like that. Cycle client, make the logo bigger. Anybody that can relate with that. Some people want the colors to pop, and you ask the client, what does it mean for the color to pop? And they let it pop, let it let it be finer. I mean, you get those from time to time. Pro tip, right? The richer a client is, or the more willing they want to pay for your job, right? The nicer they are, the better. You have less problems with people who are going to pay you more. So charge more, guys. Just charge more. Trust me. Eye problem. You can see I'm using glasses. I started using glasses like last year, and I remember coming out of like when I first got my glasses. The world felt fresh, like wow, so I can see that far. I had gotten used to like short-sightedness for a very long time, and I thought that was how the world works basically. So I can't see something that is that far, and then I put the glasses on and everything was just clear and all of that. So I mean, I know, okay, I work with about 5 designers currently at my company, and I'll say 3 of us use glasses. So, I mean, it's not compulsory. I mean, some of us just have bad genes and bad health, and we don't eat enough carrots for our eyes. So yeah, there's that. And endless correct. I mean, design is iteration. So especially when your first draft of your design is not very good. I mean, don't panic too much. Design is just constantly iterating things. You move things around, you get more context, you understand things better. Yeah, so I've explained the meme, but what exactly is the place of designers? Now I would use a building as an example. I mean, you can go to a building and build everything up. You get your bricklayer, you get everything to build stuff, and it's all right. I mean, it's livable. But when you get an architect and you get an interior designer to to an architect to first of all plan the building and then give that plan to the civil engineer, right? The building, 99% of the time, it comes out a lot better. Now, if you now lace that with an interior designer to do some fantastic work, it then takes it to the roof. So you as a designer, you are like the architect and the interior designer of the product. You start the work and then you list the sort of like the polishing and the finishing. So you're the one that says they come to you and say we want to build an e-commerce platform. Then you think about the entire product and you think about it, especially from the user and the business perspective, and you say, okay, this is how it should be, this is the amount of pages we're going to need, this is the flow, this is how it's supposed to work, this is the experience of the whole thing. So that's the way I like to think about my job. I am the architect for internet buildings, right? And I am the interior designer for internet buildings. So when you get that concept, it helps you to start understanding how important designers are to digital products, essentially, and even beyond digital products. You could go to a carpenter and say, make me a chair. But if you take the same, if you go to a carpenter who has design senses, or you find something online and the carpenter is very good at executing, and you give him a good idea, that product just gets a lot better, right? It's the same thing with food. Anybody can cook rice and stew, but can anybody plate rice and stew to Instagram standard where when you take it, everybody wants to eat it? I mean, I'm not trivializing what we do as designers to say we are just people who make it fine. The difference between a make it fine designer and a designer who is conscious about how a product works, it's miles apart. Design is in very little things. Is in very very tiny things. And I'll give a quick example. What's a random industry? Payments. So I'm trying to pay for something and my card does not work on it. What should it tell me to do? Should it encourage me to retry that process, or does it also encourage me to? Does it give me alternatives to payments so that I don't bounce and walk away? Because if I come there and I try to put in my card details and it doesn't work and I leave, that's money that the payment company is not going to earn. But me as a designer, I'm supposed to think about the experience of error handling and say that, okay, if that process of card payments does not work, can I suggest paying via bank? Can I suggest paying via USD? At the end of the day, the most important thing is that the business is able to collect money so that the business can take a cut out of it, and then I am seen as valuable to the industry. So that's a very small example, and that's 90% of what you're going to be doing as a designer is not designing landing pages and making things. It's thinking about those small experiences here and there that allows businesses to scale. That's your job as a product designer. Now, move on to that, to what exactly is product design. I think I've been able to give you a sense of, I mean, this now is to talk about what is a product designer. I removed the word products and I'll come back to it. Design for me is just intentionally creating something. You conceive it, you plan, and you produce a solution to a problem. Now, one word that sticks out here is problem for me, right? I mean, many words are here, but as a designer, one thing you're constantly doing is problem solving. It's not designing, it's problem solving. You're trying to creatively come up with a solution to an existing problem. Oh, okay. In Lagos, and this is the reason why I use the word design rather than just product design, because I want you to have a broad sense of what design is. In Lagos, there are flyovers in different places, but unless there is kick against indisciplined people or any other government policing parastatal that is there, people will prefer to cross the highway, right, than go and climb those overhead bridge. It is the work of someone who is a designer, whether the design is, whether it's an architect or is a quantity surveyor, is anything. It's the work of someone who is a designer to think about it. Okay, how do we make people use overhead bridges instead of crossing the main road? Now, um, we can start to think about a bunch of solutions, right? If the country was a bit more advanced, we would say that, okay, can we generate electricity? And I'm going to give you examples that are far out so that you see how much you need to think wide as a designer. And it's exciting. Sometimes it blows your mind that you'll be lying down at 12 midnight trying to sleep, but things are just rushing through your head. So I'll give a very far example. So imagine, let me even use Lagos for example now. Wild example. I'm not saying it to work. You need to think about even solutions that might not work, because you can take things from it and just move things around. Sorry, I just want to look at the time. So imagine if we could create electricity from, like some countries create electricity from people just walking on the road, right? Long process, interesting process. So imagine if we could create electricity from people just constantly using the bridge, right, the overhead bridge, and that's what's going to power the street lights in the night. Now, if enough people don't cross it, no light in the night. Now you are now telling people that they are going to be accountable for whether there's lights um, generated on that stretch of the highway, right? So people feel a sense of ownership, and that's something that you always want to do as a designer: create a sense of ownership, right, for them. Now, people, is ownership is also I forgot what word came to my mind, but let's continue with ownership, right? So people start to use it because they want to help other people. They are caring about other people. That's a very distant example, but that starts to solve a problem. Holding people and finding them and jailing them for 1 hour is a solution. Is it the best? No. Closing off the entire stretch of the highway so that people can't even cross, I mean, is one solution. Is it the best? I mean, all these things are debatable. So these are the things that you constantly just keep thinking about. How do I solve an interesting problem, like making people cross an overhead bridge? Do you pay them for crossing the bridge? um can we get tax relief? So everybody who crosses, let's say the country has that database of their citizens and there's a camera there, do you get tax relief, or do you get points that you can use to go and claim something? So when you start to think about things in a creative way, like obviously Nigeria is a different beast. Let me know it's what anymore. So you need to think about the people. So for a problem like that, you think about the people. What are the cultural nuances? What is the available technology? Obviously, we don't have technology that converts kinetic energy into electricity. That can't work. So what are the things that we can think about? I mean, so it starts with, can we give people incentives? Whether is one ice water or one pure water rather, sorry. I think my sapa is joining me. But I mean, I don't think there's anything like ice water in Lagos again. Lagos is too expensive for that. But I mean, can you get free water? Is there a tap that only if you cross you get free water? I mean, it's a small thing, but what you want to do in that space is culture and mindset change. That's the solution actually. But how do you do culture and mindset change? It you now start playing with different things. So that is design. So again, why I'm going with design is to make you understand that, yeah, we're talking about digital products here, but design cuts across so many beautiful things. And when you just start to think about it and when you start to apply your work, typically most of us who work in digital payments, work with digital spaces rather, but you often see that digital translates to the physical world, and you need to think about people in their physical spaces too. So again, just to recap, it's intentionally creating processes and planning those processes to create a solution to a problem. You are always running after problem. It's like Tom and Jerry. Jerry is the problem. You are Tom. But in Tom, Jerry is always winning, so you cannot allow the problem to win. And problems keep growing, right? You solve this today, there's a new problem. You solve for first 1,000 users, now you have 100,000 users, now you have 1 million users, and you keep solving for that. All right, so the impact of design. I mean, we've talked about, and I think that you guys already have a sense of the impact of design, right? Quick one. Why is FX so hard in so increasingly is why is FX increasing sporadically in Nigeria? Um three main problems. One is we're not producing enough. So we are relying on purchasing things. To purchase stuff, you need to buy the currency that's acceptable where you are purchasing it. So there's a hustle for a limited amount of FX. That's one. Two, there's hoarding. A lot of people have these FX and keeping it. Three, there's panic. People feel like naira denominated investments is not working. So it's easier to just buy, take all my savings and buy this thing and buy FX pretty much, because that's almost even better than keeping my money in bank and expecting a 2% interest rate per annum that doesn't amount to anything, or investing in a business that LIRS will tax you, local government will tax you, or Monile will tax you, everybody's going to tax you. I didn't have anything anymore. So some kind of safety is in converting my money into dollars. And now this entire three things is forcing scarcity of FX. So the government needs to sit down and start thinking about it. How do we solve these problems, right? Emefiele was trying to solve a problem when he redesigned the naira note. It just didn't come from a good place, in my own opinion. I don't know if Emefiele's children are here, but it didn't come from a good place. But it was trying to solve a problem with design, right? With design and notes. Paystack, Flutterwave, all these people, they are trying to solve problems with many things, with design, with technology, and all of that. So good design adds value to a business by enhancing the user's experience, fostering brand recognition, driving competitiveness, reducing costs, and promoting innovation and sustainability. When there was a time it was just traditional banks running everything, and then new banks came in and payment services came in. So you didn't need to you didn't need to take yourself to a physical branch of GT Bank or Access to do whatever transaction you could do. You could use neobanks and payment services to pay people that are far away from you without going out, without experiencing Lagos traffic or anything. The traditional banks caught up and they started having product teams and building stuff. So now you have the GT Bank app, the Access Bank, the Zenith Bank app that doesn't work all the time, but I mean, I'm not shading Zenith Bank. So you start to have all of those things, and those things are adding value to businesses. They are making the fact that I don't need to go into GT Bank and I have GT Bank's app enhances my experience of GT Bank as a whole. Don't forget, you're working for a business to scale. You're not working to be recognized as the best UI designer. The reason why they will keep you on the job is that you're adding to the bottom line of the business. You're fostering brand recognition. You need to think about the brand also a lot. I mean, I always use the example. If I tell everybody to close their eyes now, and I say, imagine a bottle, imagine a cold afternoon in Lagos, you're in traffic, and I open a bottle, and it does, right? There are majorly 2 or 3 products you can think about. That is branding, essentially. So that's part of what I want to do. That's what you want to do as designers, essentially. Driving competitiveness. Again, using the fintech financial services space. When the new banks came in and the payment service providers came in, it forced all the traditional banks to step up, and they are really stepping up, doing a lot of things. Wema came with alerts. Sterling had a range of financial service product that came out. GT Bank has a bunch of them. Everybody is like really competing, reducing cost of doing business transactions, especially of sending money abroad, is very high. Western Union, all of those things were there. A bunch of financial services companies came about, started solving the problem of FX. Hasn't fully solved the FX problem, but it has solved the ease of making payments abroad. It's not done, it's a long way from done, but the cost, and we're talking about cost here, not just in the price of things, but in the access to things. You need to think, sometimes you need to think about that when you're working with digital payment companies. It's not just the price of what you're producing, but the access to that a lot more people get to do something. Now, promoting innovation, I mean, we could talk about all day long how social media has changed e-commerce. Um, yeah, right now, Jumia is even struggling because it's almost easier to buy something from an Instagram vendor than go to Jumia site. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could unpack there. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, but you can see, and that's why I started with the history of the internet to show you that technology doesn't stay in one place. It goes and goes very, very fast. And so you have to keep updating yourself pretty fast. And then there's sustainability. I mean, the economy is better for it. You as a human being is better for it. We can build things. We can build less, more efficient things using less products and things like that. Why you should be a product designer? I think I've covered this place in a wonderful. Okay, let me not praise myself. I think I've covered why you should be a product designer. But I'll just step away from being a bit technical and stuff and just talk from my heart. I remember when we crossed the company I work for. I remember when we crossed 500k users, right? 500,000. That was maybe like 2 years ago, and my CEO just sent me a message on our I think it was WhatsApp. I don't think it was Slack. Slack is like our internal communication tool. And he sent me a message and he said, 500,000 people are using the products that you designed. I mean, for me, that was a lot of fulfillment. Like, I'm helping. Let's even say that 500,000 of those people just downloaded it in their phone and don't really use it. At least half of them use it to transact. Half of them use it to send money to their parents, to their wives, to their friends, to help pay for medical bills, school fees, and things like that. So I am, in a way, that's my superhero power, right? I am helping people's life become better. When I worked at the human resource company, I help people book emergency leave that allows them to rush home to take their wife to the hospital, take their husband to the hospital, to go for the burial of their parents, or to go and celebrate their something with it could be a graduation or a birthday or anything with people. That's the gratification you get from working as a designer. You make people's life a lot better, a lot easier, and that's why you panic when the products you're working on doesn't work as expected. And it's the thing that just keeps you going and going and going. Like, I'm helping people. Also, with the fact that you get to make some good money from it. Like, don't don't be deceived. You make decent amount of cash from it. I don't know any poor, and I'm using the word poor like I don't know any poor. I mean, there are guys who are not making a lot of money. I wish I was making more money. But I don't know any poor product designer, except maybe we are out of job or you're not hustling enough, that kind of thing. Yeah, so those two things, the gratification you get from building something, um, and and the financial incentive that you get from it. I'll quickly um I think yeah, someone said tech is new oil money. Yeah, I won't say I still think all people make more money. Oil money and people who work in investment banking. I think those two are like right up there. But tech is a really close third. I think we're running out of time, and I hope people I can stay beyond the time that we schedule. But I'll quickly rush through this. So the business of design, the ROI of design, simply put, it's helping the company you're working for just make more money. That should always be the objective. Again, the objective is not to design a fine landing page. The objective of design is to design something that is usable, that is sellable, that people would love to use or continuously use, so that all of these things, so that the company you're working for or the company that you have built can stay in business and make you financially can give you financial rewards, right? People have cashed out. Early investors of Facebook, early product designers at Facebook, early product designers at Google, even it's not even only early people who are there now and they get 200k 300k salary. I mean, that's still the aspiration for me, like to build the company that I'm working for to such a level that they can pay me that kind of huge salary. And I mean, and I never have to think about money again in my life. This one, I think about money every now and then, and I want to get to the place, and I know that one tool for it is design. So the ROI of design is building good products that impact the bottom line of the business. um okay, so how does good UX design drive business growth and customer satisfaction? I mean, we've talked about this already, but just to recap, you build a good product or you design a good product. Let me use the word design since we're specifically talking about design. Design a good product. um Customers use it, keep using it, give the company money, and company makes more money, company becomes richer. You get salary increments or you get stock options that one day the company does IPO and you get just ridiculously rich. If you're on Twitter, I don't want to mention his name, but you know this guy who I, I would say he coined the word, but he made it famous. Unbelievably liquid. He's a founder or is a co-founder of one of popular Nigerian company. But I mean, that's the goal. So I mean, but that's a personal goal. But how does it help business? Pretty much, you are designing something that is usable, that people want to use, and customers keep using, makes customers' life better. If I know that a product makes my life better, makes my life easier, I'll continue using it, and I will not mind paying for it. Simple. Example of successful products with great design. I mean, it's everywhere. One thing I would like to say is design is very subjective. I might look at Facebook and say I don't like the design. Um, Another person will look at it and say I love it. Um, Twitter calculates how well it's doing by how long you stay on Twitter. The same with Instagram. Pretty much all social media, this thing. For Amazon is how many times you get to check out, how many times, how fast you can find the product you're looking for, um, um, a bunch of things like that. It's typically not what we think about it. And that's why you can look at Amazon and say, oh, I don't like design, it's not fine. But they've highly optimized it for helping you to find the product you want, making sure that you check out, giving you options. If you're living abroad, they have financing options, that kind of thing. The same thing with it's the same model that companies like Jumia and Konga and things like that are trying to copy. Those products are good product. Paystack is a solid product. Flutterwave is quite nice. A bunch of us probably use Piggyvest. Those are products that are quite successful. Cowrywise, all of those things. Yeah, so those are examples of products with great design. Now, again, design is subjective. So Amazon optimizes for quick page load speed. So they can't do things that are heavy on graphics. And so that's why the design can look a bit bland, right? Nairaland has to optimize for phones, small phones that don't have a lot of power. So redesigning Nairaland can be very costly, and not costly in terms of business sense, in terms of financial sense rather, but in terms of would people be able to click on something and a small end phone that is 15,000 naira will load that page as fast as possible. So those are the things that's how you start to think about design essentially. So the design, I don't like it, but it works for the type of users that come there. I hope like people start to get the point. So now where we should have where we are actually going to getting into product design, right? So getting started, first you need to understand UX design. I sort of hope I've been able to give like a primer into what design and UX design or product design. People call it many things. I mean, but at the end of the day, I'll just use the word design, blanket design here. Understanding design at its very foundation, and that's what I've been trying to sell to everybody here. Getting through educational resources, doing a boot camp, like LENAC, going through that, doing a cohort and going through that. Then you build a portfolio, you network, because it's one of the fastest ways to get a job. To be honest, applying a jobber man every day, I mean, it could work, but it's like a 1 in 1,000 chance. I mean, but it's still good to take that 1 in 1,000 chance, because you might be the one person, the 1,000 that get called by the recruiter. One of the best ways to get a job is networking. Now, people think of networking in terms of people that I know, but networking is broader than that. It's sharing your design on Twitter, even though you're not confident about it. It's sharing your design on LinkedIn, and then let people just know that this person is a designer. And then one day somebody thinks, oh, I need a designer. My budget is not big, but I know this guy. I know people who have started their careers like that. And then you jump on your first product, and then from that product, oh, the person says you did a good work, I recommend you to other kind of another person, and then your network starts growing, and you get your first full-time gig and things like that. So these 4 key things are steps that you cannot miss any step. I mean, you can continue down the line and miss certain steps that we'll talk about, but understand the basics, go through some educational resource, especially with some hand holding by like a tutor, that kind of thing. Build your portfolio, because you need to show something, and then network. That's the 4 trusted ways I know that you go from 0 to 1 as a designer. Now, the key skills you need, right? A user-centered approach. If you see a lot of my examples that I've been using, it's a lot of thinking about the user, who they are, what their constraints are, what their opportunities are, how they live, how they approach cultural nuances, and just designing around those things. Interaction design. Interaction design is how users move from page to page, right? You're on an e-commerce store, you see the product. As soon as you click on the product, you don't want to take the user to the checkout stage. They typically want to see full details. They want to see reviews, what other people think about the product, the specs, and all those kind of things before you go to the checkout. I mean, some people even put an extra page before the checkout and say, okay, like a summary, or another page where they try to sell you added stuff on top of what you buy, on top of what you bought, basically. Depending on the business model, basically. So essentially, interaction design is how one part of the digital product is interacting with every other part of the digital product. Now, UI design is a key skill. I mean, you want to make, in as much as function and form is very important, how good a product looks is a very close, I don't want to say it's just as important or more important. At this stage of my career, I think it's a very close, it's something that you shouldn't leave out. But I'll say I'll still put form and function above how pretty something looks, essentially. Because sometimes you dumb down how pretty something looks because of the audience. Quick example, if you are building something for people in very core skills like accounting, it's just nowadays you have all these pretty accounting products, but that's because this generation of accountants, let's say less than 40 years old, grew up with the internet essentially. So they're used to seeing fine things. They're using Instagram and this thing. If you're building something for legacy people with legacy professions, it's hard to be something that is just really pretty, because then they start to feel like this thing is not, it's not powerful. I've heard it before. Somebody said that it's too fine. I don't think it will be powerful enough to work. Like, people want something that is rugged, and can, it can handle the thing I want to do. It's very weird, but these things actually exist. Next point is usability testing. You always want to test. You want to learn how to test your product, and the key important thing here is feedback. When I started my career, I struggled with receiving feedback because I felt it was a personal attack, and feedback is not a personal. Like, at some point in your career, you have to learn how to detach yourself from the product you're working on for 2 reasons. One is it may just not be going on well for the design at that point, not for you, but for the design. So you're working at it, you're throwing your hours at it, but it's not coming out at the right thing. Maybe because of many reasons. Maybe you don't have enough context, or you just need to work at it. So being able to detach yourself from your design is important, so that you don't allow what's going on with your job affect how you feel mentally, essentially. and then being able to just hear people say, oh, it's not nice because of XYZ, and then take that feedback and use it to go and improve what you've done. So you get a lot of that from the stakeholders that you're working with and the users that you're working with. Next skill is problem solving. Like I said, design equals problem solving. So if you're not thinking of solving a problem and you're just doing arbitrary stuff, you're probably doing art. You're not doing design. I mean, an art is fine. If it sells, no problem. Nobody's going to hold you. If it sells, I have no grouse. But essentially, design, problem solving. Communication skills. You want to learn how to communicate with people, your co-workers. I'll use football and sports analogy generally here. The closer a team is, the more they feel like they are brothers, the better the output. Um, Most of us probably watch soccer here. If a midfielder knows the leg and the side that his striker likes to, it's like De Bruyne and what's the name of the Man City's I'm forgetting his name, but
Alan,
yeah, Haaland, thank you. He knows where he likes to be. He knows the way he runs. He knows the pace at which he runs. He knows that if I shoot it very, very far, Haaland is going to get there. He knows at this point in time, his body is turned in this direction. So it will be easy for him to balance on his leg, and then the right leg is going to be able to shoot the ball. He knows whether, okay, I need to make it a one-touch thing, or I need to make it, this guy is going to need two touches because he has two defenders around him. So it's the same thing with the guys you're working with. You need to, work is not family. I don't subscribe to that thing that work is family. No, we are coming here to do a job, and then everybody goes to their real family. But you need to know enough of your colleagues and build a very good relationship with them, such that everybody knows. When I'm working with some front-end designers, I don't do mobile version because I trust them. They would implement mobile version by themselves. So I just do the web, leave it, move on to the next task, and that kind of thing. But there are some front-end designers, you do everything. You would write notes, you annotate, you everything for them. Relationships. Then relationship with people that you're working with, your stakeholders, your CEO, you're trying to maintain at least a decent thing. I mean, you're not sucking up to anybody or that kind of thing. Then communication skills with, like, when you're doing interviews, how to warm up people to make them tell you the things that they want to tell you. The last thing is empathy, right? Design is about caring. Simple. Design is essentially about caring about others. Care deeply enough about the business, care about the users, care about yourself, because you are the one doing all of that work. Care about the people that you're working with. I don't want to slack off or slag off so that other people's work are not affected. I'm supposed to do this design for 7 days, and the front end person takes it up. But if I don't work and I'm playing game, or I'm watching Telemundo and I don't do the work, and that person's work is affected. So you're thinking about yourself, your co-workers, the business, the customers, and you're just channeling empathy through everybody, essentially. How long it takes? Foundations, I think you can do it in 1 month to get the core foundations, but 1 to 3 months is good too, right? Everybody has their pace. I started design and I probably spent my first 1 year with the foundations. But looking back, I know that I could have shortened that entire phase to 1 month or 3 months, right? Or 6 months. But I mean, it took me 1 year. Fine. Everybody has their pace. So you start with the introduction, your first month, learn about research, information architecture, and all of those things. Feels like a lot, but if you break it down and keep doing it every day, every day, you get to a very good place very, very fast. I mean, I believe in slow progress is better than no progress, right? So you do it, and get to a good place. Then you work on your portfolio. I don't think a beginner needs a very fancy portfolio that is built and things are moving up and down, blah, 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 blah. Leave that for seniors. I mean, create a very decent portfolio that helps people understand that, okay, I know this thing, but I'm still a learner, right? I know this thing, I'm still a learner. And if you trust me enough, I will make sure that I put everything into it and give it all of myself, and I will learn and grow. So the next stage is intermediate. And I'm not saying that you can become an intermediate designer in 3 to 6 months, but I'm just saying that in your first year, right? Your first 3 months is learning foundations. The second stage is collaborating on real world projects. Like in the 3 to 6 months, I mean, you in the first 3 months, you should start working on a portfolio. But you can carry that over. And the reason why I put a portfolio there is because you're working on real products this time. You're trying your hands at internship. You now take all of those things that you're learning and adding into the portfolio that you've already created with fictional. Your first portfolio will probably be fictional products that don't exist and things like that. Now, the last stage is the advanced stage of your beginner journey, right? You're working on your portfolio, and you're networking with people for even better opportunities. Right. So sorry, I've taken almost everybody's time, but I'll just quickly round up with these 3 stories. Precious was someone I was mentoring. She got into design 2022 and 2023. Towards the end of 2023, she got this interesting offer in Germany to do like a junior. It's a program. I think like it's a 1 year program. But it's where I'm going is it's exciting that someone spent a year in design, or let me say a year and a half in design, and they got an opportunity to go abroad. Right, fantastic stuff. She's in Germany now. Her Instagram is popping. She went to Paris some weeks ago. I mean, she just doing fantastically well. I mean, it took me maybe 5.5 years before I ever traveled abroad, and the first place I went to was Ghana. So I mean, it's different. Mine was longer, but her own grace was a lot faster and shorter. So fantastic stuff. There's David, which is like my coworker. And I'm bringing this story because he told me a story. He said his first job, they fired him somehow. Let me know use the word fire. They let him go. The second job, they let him go. I mean, at that point, you should start feeling like maybe I'm not up to this thing. But he kept just evolving himself and making himself better. And he's a solid designer today. Precious's story is about fast triumph. David's story is about it didn't work, and then it started working. My story, I like to bring it because I studied human anatomy. I wanted to be a medical doctor. I failed medical school. I went to do anatomy. Anatomy is like very far from design, basically. Um, I started working at an NGO. We ran out of money to pay the person that was designing stuff for us. So they said to me start designing social media banners. And so what we're doing in the NGO is we're designing educational materials for preschool kids, right? So like nursery school stuff. So just to me, you can do this thing now. You know, Nigerian employers are do sometimes not your work. I was supposed to be researching, writing papers. Then I started researching educational materials, and now they say I should be designing. I said, okay, let me keep my job because I don't have any other thing to anywhere to go. So I started doing that, and that led to my first. I left there when I started to enjoy. I never knew that I could be a designer. I know that I like fine things, but that was it. But I did that. I did that for a while, and then I realized I enjoyed it, and then I applied for an internship. Got the internship. This is like 18 month story that I'm compressing essentially. So it's not 1 month, 1 month, 1 month. Yeah, so this is like 18 months to 2 years. And then I got my internship. The internship was hard. It was a wild experience, but 7 years down the line, I'm here now. And if you look at these 3 stories, different ways all of this has come about, but we're all in fantastic places. So I just want to round off and say to you guys, it doesn't matter where you're coming from, it doesn't matter at what stage that you are. For context, I am 33, I'm almost 34, and I started design at 27, yeah, 27, 26, 27. So I mean, a lot of people started design at 18. They're young. They had time. I was given my first laptop, like somebody gave it to me. So I mean, all of these fantastic things, but we all come from different places, and we've been able to make something out of all of this. So I'm hoping that whatever it is, whatever your story is, as long as you have enough passion or you're interested in this thing. At the beginning, I didn't have that much passion, but I just liked it. It felt like a fun work. I spent 8 hours at work, and it didn't feel like it felt like work, but it didn't feel like work. So I don't know how to explain it. But I'm here now, and I hope that, and I pray that all of you that are starting from this place can end up just going to fantastic places. Sorry for taking your time, and I'll just stop here to take questions. I hope that you guys have some for me, because it just feel like I've been talking, and maybe I'm talking to myself. But yes, please, if you have any questions, the floor is open. Thank you.
Oh wow, thank you so much, Takwa. That was very insightful. And for me, I would say is even much more inspirational than even educational for me. So I mean it's really, really good to hear you speak and share your experiences, turbocharge us. Thank you very much. So I know that a lot of people have questions. Maybe they're just shy. So this is a safe place. As Takwa mentioned, he said he doesn't bite. I don't bite as well. I mean, we're here to help you. So let us help you. So ask your questions. And I see Benis, I see Olamide, I see Bob, I see Aquila. Okay, so thank you, Bob. So Bob, ask your question.
Yeah. Um, Hi, Takwa.
Hi.
Thanks for thanks for the presentation. For
Well,
to me, based on practice on Figma, based on the product design, I've been creating some design, but I still feel I'm missing that final touch. Like someone to walk me through that part. So I just want to ask if you can be a mentor, like someone that can guide me to the path. Because I've been doing some design online on my account. So I know I still have some basic things. I will be glad if you can be my mentor on this.
I just I think you should take that question, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If you like we earlier said, if you had joined from the beginning, so this masterclass or webinar is brought to you by LearnAc, and our goal, like I said, is to see how people thrive through, helping them gain the knowledge that they need to acquire tech skills like product design, for instance. And we also, interestingly, we also have a mentorship and job accelerator program. So this is actually open to anyone that takes our premium class. I was going to get to that later, but I guess maybe we have to start with that. So, of course, LENAC is a community of people that intends to transition into tech or are currently in tech but needs to improve themselves. So what we do is we have free masterclasses like this, which we'll be having as often as possible. And that's why, so, just to like, I see what Garo Balima said, and big ups to you, Takwa. She had mentioned that, just to point out, you were not just talking to yourself, Mr. Takwa. You literally just spoke life into me. Thank you so much. And this is what we help you do. We encourage you. And you see how Takwa has also talked about different people's stories, right? And how their own path to tech were kind of sort of different. But for us, we're unholding you. But of course, the truth is, you won't be committed if you don't pay a price, and that's, well, maybe not necessarily, but most times people are not always committed when they don't pay a price. Yes, we have the free version of our community, but we also have a paid version. So for instance, in February, okay, we're going to be having our first cohort for product designers, and it's going to be a 12-week intensive product design class, and it's going to take you from literally zero to hero in product design. If you have no idea, nothing, and this is going to be led, taught, facilitated by Takwa himself. And the interesting thing is, if you go through this path with Takwa, he's also going to be your mentor automatically. So what it means is that you need to enroll to learn ACK for this course for you to be able to, have access to Takwa. So I will drop the link on the chat box, or someone from our team will do that. So it's basically just going to learnac.tech/enroll. Yes, there is a price suite for this, for you to be able to go through the 12-week intensive. It's actually $200, right? But for you attending this webinar, we're going to give you 30% off for every one of you that attended. Don't worry, we have the data from Google, so we can tell people that attended the webinar. And again, we also, because we understand that a lot of us might, have some financial challenges, we also do have like a financial relief program as well, where we allow you to pay in installment, or you can let us know your story as to, okay, you have this particular amount, you may not be able to afford all of this money, but you have this particular amount, and this is why we should help you. But you need to send an email to info@learnac.tech, and we would review it with the team. And if you see you qualify for a scholarship above the 30%, right? Yeah. So that being said, I hope I was able to answer your question, Bob Creative. Right. So any other person has any question? Do we have any question? Garuba, Alima, Olamide, Elizabeth, Bernice. Let me see how many people. We have about 19 people in this call. So let's see. Okay. So now okay, great. Sylvia, Omotayo, Sylvia, you spoke in the beginning, you had expectations. I hope your expectations were met. Omotayo, Olamide, Mojisola, Iniobong, David, Bisola, Aquila, guys, we want to hear from you. So, or maybe I should ask, I think, how many of us will be joining the premium class or would love to join the premium class so that you can start your journey into product design? Okay. I don't know. Is it that a lot of product design enthusiasts are shy people? They don't really like to. Okay, Eniola said you will be joining. You're welcome, Eniola. Nice, nice. Okay, so you guys don't really like to talk. Takwaya, am I right or wrong? A lot of product design people that have interest in this course don't like to. Are they shy people? Olamide. Okay.
I'm guessing
So
they're just trying. I think Halima said she would love to join. Yes, she posted in the chat.
Okay, so let me quickly just drop the link for you to enroll, and we'll pick it up from there. So, and the good thing is, you enrolling means you're taking a very critical decision in your life. So you could end up being like, Takwa's friend that got the opportunity to go work for a global company in Germany. So, I mean, it's the beginning of the year, and I think this is the best time to actually invest in yourself. So let me just quickly drop the link so that we have it, so you can enroll. And I believe someone from our team would actually reach out to you. Like I said, take advantage of this 30% discount for the fact that you're here. Or if you need any help financially, I will be happy to help you. The team will be happy to help you as well. Okay. So I guess since there are no questions, I guess Takwa did justice to this webinar. And first things first, we just really want to appreciate Takwa Gazal for your time. It's just an amazing, amazing, amazing webinar. And thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. We really, really appreciate you. And excited to see you in class for 12 weeks. Oh, wow. So, and I'm also excited for everyone that will be joining the cohort with you. I mean, you guys are being led by the best. So, congratulations to you guys too. So, I guess we'll bring this webinar to a close, or masterclass. So, one more thing I'd like to say, in case you have not joined the community, we have a WhatsApp community with budding tech enthusiasts like yourself. I will quickly drop the link as well so that you can join. Give you 1 minute, 1 second, 3 minutes to join. So I'm trying to just quickly pull out the link. Okay, this is how it works. Copy link, got it. Okay. Now you can join the link with that link I just put in the chat section rather. Okay, thank you everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye.
All right, bye guys. Looking forward to you guys joining. Have a lovely weekend.
You too. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Takwa. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.